we know who the enemy is. Great. He may not talk about it, but that's a drive. And by the way, we can say this about a lot of names at the top. They chose their enemies wisely, and you just hope it's not the wrong enemy that eventually destroys you. So you have to be very selective on which enemies you choose.
It's such a wise concept to really be aware of your enemies, because I think you unconsciously make the wrong people in your life enemies. As you said, you know, you try and compete with your siblings, or you try and compete with your, you know, your kids, or people that should never be your enemy, right? So when you're saying that, I was like, wow, like as soon as you're aware of that, you can stop yourself from kind of making those mistakes and realizing, okay, who am I really fighting against and who am I really fighting for?
It's easy to yell at your family because you're comfortable with them. And then you know that they would forgive you if you guys had a conversation. It's a good fallback. When I was younger, I got permission to beat up this kid in school, because I grew up doing martial arts, and my mom and dad were like, we'll pull you out of martial arts if you ever put your hands on somebody. And I was getting heavily bullied. One day my dad came home when he found out, and he fucking lost it on my mom. He goes, somebody put his hands on my son and you told him not to do anything? So he grabbed me and he goes, you listen to me. He goes, if I find out another man put their hands on you and you didn't do anything, he goes, when you come home, I'm going to put my hands on you. And I was like, okay. Literally the next day, some kid named Zach started some shit. But now I have that like, oh, my dad gave me permission. I'm going to start some shit now, right? So I started some shit, and he pushed me. I pushed him back, 7th grade. And he put me up against the wall, and I'm like, okay, perfect. I'm not even kidding. I remember this like it was yesterday. I was waiting patiently before I striked for this girl that I liked to come around, because I knew she was a little bit farther behind. I wanted her to see me knock him the fuck out. So I'm just waiting. I'm waiting, and then so finally she pulls around the corner, and I hit him once, bop, and I'm going for the other one, and I look in his eyes, and it was fear, but it was a different type of fear, and it locked me up, and I never had another man look at me that way, and so I got scared of the feeling of me powering him, and so I held him, and then the aides were coming, so I held him, and something in my heart was like, do not touch this man again. And so I was like, okay. And then he hit me, boom. And I was like, don't touch him. Boom, again, don't touch him. And I was like, okay, don't let him, don't. Just take it. 2 years go by. And in my mind, I'm like, why the fuck did that happen? Like, why didn't I hit him? Always in my mind, why didn't I? 2 years go by. We're now in high school. And we get detention. But we've said hi to each other. We've moved on. We never, like, kept it, like, anger. We moved on. We're men, right? We were in detention. The teacher comes in and she goes, guys, I got to go, and a family emergency happened. You guys could go. We're living right next to Desert Ridge. So we're like, why don't we just walk there and get food? We're walking there. I'm making him laugh. And he just starts choking up. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Are you good? And he looks at me and he stops. He goes, dude, I have to apologize to you. And I go, why? He goes, and I'll never forget this. And I've told you this, and I've told you this, and it fucked me up for the rest of my life. He goes, I put my hands on you because that's what I had in my home. And I thought it was okay. And so when I saw his eyes, I knew there was something more there. But all I kept picturing now is like, how many times did his dad come home and beat him that I could have given him hell here? So from that day, I promised myself, my demons are their demons. So when I look at my enemy, I'll look past their shoulders and I'll never make that mistake again. If you've got on my bad side, it's because something you're dealing with you haven't overcome, and I'm not going to beat you up physically because you're already getting beat up spiritually. So I'm going to find out who your demon is, and I'm going to fuck him up, and I'm not going to put my hands on you. And so that's like changed my whole like my whole enemy thing.